is up, YouTube? We are back again on NBN Educate. In this video, we're going to discuss 10 of what I think are some basic financial literacy terms that you should just familiarize yourself with right now. Let's begin. Asset. What is an asset? An asset is something that you own that can produce income, value. It's something of value that you own. Something income producing. Let's think of your iPhone is an asset because it's worth like $1,000 for one. If you have a MacBook that you paid like $2,000 for, that's an asset. Your car, if you own your car, is an asset. So let's think about something like a house. Often we're told that houses are assets, but in reality, if you own your home and you're constantly paying, if you don't own your home outright, it is technically not an asset because every month you're putting money into it so that you can keep it. If it was an asset, it would be putting money into your pocket. When you think of an asset, think of something that is putting money in your pocket. A house, a single family home, takes money out of your pocket every month. Eventually, it will become an asset once you own it. But the misconception is once you buy a house, you now have an asset. That's not the reality. So let's talk about debt because that really goes into debt and credit. Debt is, let's see, how do I explain this? Debt is the second term on the list. So there's good debt and there's bad debt. You can have good debt that is an asset. You can have bad debt that is a liability. So a house that you own that you're paying for is a bad debt. So that's a liability. You're taking money out of your pocket every month. Another misconception about money, debt, assets is owing money and debts are naturally liabilities. Liabilities is the third word on our list. So we're just going to talk about all three of these together. Asset, liability, and debt. There's good debt that produces assets. The bad debt produces liabilities. So if you go to the bank and you get essentially a student loan would be good debt because it produces a degree that will produce you money, right? A house loan is good debt if you actually own it. If you take out a loan on a house if you take them a down payment and you get a loan and you go buy a house and then you rent the house out. Let's stop right there. The rent needs to be above, or it has to be a good deal for it to be a good debt. Otherwise, you just cost more money. So you need to be able to buy the house with the debt and refurbish it to where you sell it and you make money. That's good debt. If you can take a $30,000 loan, refurbish the house and turn it into a $50,000 or $60,000 home. So your $30,000 that you pay, and you have to pay back the bank, say you did $5,000 in renovation and you're going to pay about $5,000 in interest fees, which is probably pretty high on $30,000. That's almost, it might be just about right. So if you turn it right around, you pay them back $35,000, you pay $5,000 to refurbish it. So you spent $40,000 on that house, including that loan. You sell it for $50,000, you've made $10,000 pretty easily. So that is good debt. That is a good debt that you took out. That is a good way to use your credit because you paid it back. Credit is the fourth thing on the list. So you pay that loan back, your credit score improves. So let's talk about credit real quick. If you go to the bank looking for a loan, they're not giving you a loan unless you have good credit. So most of the time, to get a good loan, an asset-producing loan, you need good credit. That's the scheme, the game, is because most black people do not have good credit because we have to take out student loans, and the rat race is take out the student loans, take out the car loan, and take out the house loan. All of those things hit your credit very, very hard. And then if you can't pay for that car that you took out, now your credit's even lower. Your student loans, most people do not pay them back. So your credit score goes down also. All of these things is why me and you can't go to the bank and get asset producing debt. That is the name of the game in any community. And that's, if you go read my article on NBN website. It talks about a Korean key. What they do is they come together and they loan each other the money each month, so that it's, for one, a low fee that you pay back because you're going to pay the same amount to this group every single month. And then it's no interest because you're only going to pay back in exactly what you get out. So it's a no interest loan, cash, no fees, no nothing like that, because they understand the American banking system is just not working for minorities. It just does not work for minorities. So go watch that video. So we talked about an asset. Asset is something that is going to make you money. So when you go and get debt, it's good debt because that debt can be used to buy something that's going to produce money. Debt for a business is good debt because you now, if you get $10,000 to start a business and your first month you make 20, you cannot pay back that debt and you have 10,000 to now reinvest in the next month. This is why there's a study that they will give you the bad debt. The bank will give any minority bad debt, but they are less likely to give minorities good debt. Those are the business loans and the real estate loans and all the other things that you buy so you can make more money. They'll give those to other people, but not us. We're going to talk about credit report and credit score. Your credit score is that number that the bank's going to look at, and any loan officer, you try to get a mortgage, anything like that. You want to open a bank account, a credit card, they're going to check your credit score. I think a 600, over a 600 is pretty well. Over an 800 is amazing. So between the 6 and 7, you're doing good. Between the over 8 is like really well. I think over 800 credit score has a buying power of more than $100,000. That's the thing with your credit. Let's talk about your credit score. A higher credit score, when you see people driving Mercedes-Benzes and Maseratis and things like that, you think they have a lot of money. In some cases, that is true. In some cases, it is not true. They could have the same amount of money or be making the same amount of money as you, but they have great credit. And with great credit and a good enough down payment, you can get a very nice car with a low monthly payment, a low interest rate, because your credit is good. They understand that you will pay back your bills, and that's essentially it. So if your credit isn't good and they want a very high down payment, they're going to give you a high loan and high interest rates and things like that. But good credit allows you to move money easier. It allows you to get money easier. Just about any institution is going to give you more money with better credit.